Hello and welcome to the third in a series of focusIR videos about helium. Now, we've already learned about what it is, the players in the sector, and since we recorded those videos, the world of commerce is being deconstructed. To talk about tariff tremors and the latest developments in the sector, I'm delighted to be joined again by Peter Hitchens, a research analyst at Oak Securities. So, Peter, when I last spoke to you, it was Donald Trump's inauguration day. He's been very busy since then. So will the helium industry be impacted by the frantic pace of executive orders coming from the White House?
I think from the tariff point of view, it's not going to be a major issue in the fact that the US is very much self-sufficient in helium, and the trade that goes on is very much Europe, Middle East, etc., which should be immune from these tariffs. The area I have got some concern with is what Trump does on the politics side, because the politics will shape the supply of helium to the world. To give you some examples, Iran has now decided that it wants to start up helium production, and it's producing from the same field as Qatar, and they're the largest producer of helium. So that could have an impact on supply from, say, 2026, 2027. We've got the uncertainty over Russia with the AMR gas processing plant that could be up and running. And also, Qatar has problems with the Houthis in the fact that their cargoes have to ship round the Cape of Good Hope, which lengthens the journey and also leads to significant losses through leakage.
So an awful lot more to consider where the political environment is concerned. So therefore, Peter, I'm guessing that investors are now scrutinising the quality of the companies in the sector, particularly as they have so much more to deal with. So tariffs aside, they've got the politics to be aware of.
That's right, and I think some of the gloss has gone out of the sector. The market is very much balanced at the moment, so we don't have the shortages that were predicted. So a bit of the froth has gone out of the sector. And with the uncertainties, I think some of the risks are on the downside for the price. So I think investors have to look at the helium stocks and actually look for the quality or the unique plays that are out there which stand a better chance of survival than some of the companies.
So therefore, I'm wondering who's been particularly active and successful in the first 5 months of 2025 as everyone starts to pay attention about what's going on in the White House and the ramifications. Let's have a look at Helium 1, because that was an investor favourite a couple of years ago. It appears to be back in favour after diversifying geographically, confirming gas at its Jackson 2 well in Colorado.
That's right. I mean, the news flow seems to be turning more positive for Helium 1. They got their mining license in Tanzania. That was a couple of days ago. The Galactica Pegasus project is starting to move ahead. They've got free gas. It's moving forward with development. So that will be an encouraging sign, because suddenly they start getting cash flow in.
Cash flow is important, but there's lots of companies new to the sector that are pre-cash flow. I've been speaking to Helium twice this year already. Topaz project in the US. It's currently in a position of flow testing, and at the same time, it's looking to increase its land package. So quite a wholesale strategy coming from Helium.
Yeah, Pulsar have got a very unique project in Topaz because it's got such high concentrations. You're talking concentrations over 10% helium by volume. And I think when you've got those levels of concentration, you start to really add to the economics of the development. You need less wells to produce the helium than some players who might have helium concentrations of about 1%. Their strategy is to increase the package because although they've got topaz, they feel that there are similar prospects all over the area and they want to try and grab as much land as possible.
If they can afford to do so, but that's for another conversation between you and I. Helix exploration, it's located in Montana. Like Pulsar, flow testing has started there. Do you see any similarities within each of their business plans and business models?
I think they're both at the same stage where they're starting to get on the cusp of a development. You don't want any bad news that might set it back, but it's both starting to look encouraging, and we can see a timeline to when cash flow starts to come in.
So Helium 1, Pulsar Helium, Helix Exploration, they're all geographically situated in the US. But let's go to Australia, Georgina Energy. Last time we spoke, you said they'd positioned themselves very well in Australia with access to the growing Asian market. And you'd also highlighted their exposure to hydrogen, which is becoming an increasingly valuable green source of energy at the moment. At Georgina Energy, are you still focusing on them? What's the upside potential in that company?
That's starting to look interesting as well because they've had some delays due to rains, but what they're doing at the moment is the final environmental heritage surveys before they start to get drilling. Once they've completed the surveys, then they submit for drilling approval and then start drilling, and we'll keep our fingers crossed. But as you said earlier, the other advantage of the company is the fact they've got hydrogen as well, which is also a valuable byproduct.
Diversification certainly is the key there. And Mendel Helium, you described before as becoming a bit of a chameleon because it was involved in the CBD business.
That's right, and I think the main strategy for the company is to acquire a helium business, which is around the Hugoton gas field. The advantage here is the fact that they've got the nearby Jayhawk processing plant, so any helium they discover can be very, very quickly, easily, cheaply tied in. They've also got a valuable byproduct of natural gas.
So those are the stocks that I'm comfortable referencing. Which other companies are you keeping your eye on in terms of their potential or their chameleon-like qualities, just like Mendel?
There are lots of players trying to come to the market. I think that investors are going to be slightly more wary about them because we've seen a couple of high profile bankruptcies, particularly amongst the Canadian players, where they've overextended. The price of helium hasn't been quite as good as some had hoped for, and they've run into problems. So I think investors are going to be a lot more wary about what to invest in, looking for quality products as they come to the market.
So talk to me about the price of helium. What's happening with it? What are the dynamics that are influencing the price of helium? And where would you say that it's situated on the technical analysis chart of helium pricing?
I think the market at the moment is very well balanced in the fact that supply is meeting demand. So we're not seeing the wild price fluctuations that had spooked the market in 2024, where a lot of the customers were locking in on very high prices with the fear that there might not be enough supply. So I think that fear is easing. The price has been reasonably calm, although the trouble is that it's a specialized market and there isn't really a free market for helium. So it's all, a lot of it's put forward on contracts. I think the worry to the market is the fact that there isn't the shortage that a lot of people had hoped for, which means we're not seeing spiking prices as the market remains balanced.
Okay, so balance is good, but let's circle back to the macro themes. You've introduced a few more political concerns that investors need to be aware of. But is the industry just as appealing and relevant as it was last year?
I think so. I just think the wave of euphoria that had been in the market has gone, and people are now concentrating on the fundamentals rather than the hype. And I think if you've got a good quality project, such as, say, Pulsar with Topaz, you are going to make some significant amount of money.
And we'll end on that, a significant amount of money. Music to our ears. Peter Hitchens, research analyst at Oak Securities. Thank you very much indeed.
You, Sarah.